Hello everyone and welcome back to another video, and welcome to my top 10 action figures of 2024 video, where I'll be going through 10 of my favourite releases from this year. And before we get into that list, I just want to give a massive thank you to you guys, because the support on the content this year has been absolutely immense. And you know, I've uploaded a lot of action figure reviews, a lot of photos, a lot of TikTok videos this year, and the support on every single one of them has been absolutely fantastic. So just want to give a massive thank you, and I hope that all of you can join me on my action figure collecting journey into 2025 as well. But without further ado, let's get into this list with a few other shout outs as well. If you do enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. So before we get into the list, I just want to give a small segment to some action figures that I think would have made the list if I actually managed to pick them up this year. And I've only got two on this part of the segment. So the first one being the War Journal Punisher from the Punisher 2-pack that Hasbro Marvel Legends released. That looked like a really good figure, and I do think that could have been in my top 10 if I'd managed to pick it up. It is available, but I don't think it will be delivered in time if I was to order it now. So I may go back and order that at some point next year. But yeah, that is one of them. And then the next one is the Bandai SH Figuarts Heat of Passion Guts figure from Berserk. So that is another one that I really wanted to pick up, but I couldn't, because essentially it is quite a hard figure to find. I did see it a couple of times when it first released, but at that point I hadn't read Berserk. Now I have. Going back trying to find it, it's quite hard to find, and it is quite expensive when I do find it. So yeah, I do think that definitely would have made the list, judging by the photos and the videos that I've seen of it. So yeah, unfortunately I wasn't able to pick those up. But with those out of the way, let's get into the number 10 spot on the list. So coming in at the number 10 spot, we have the Marvel Legends Iron Fist from the 85th anniversary 2-pack alongside Luke Cage. Now I am only including this Iron Fist, and you know, an absolutely fantastic 2-pack as a whole, but the Iron Fist is the main star of the show. I have actually reviewed the 2-pack on my channel, so if you do want to go and watch that, I'll leave a card right here so you can go and watch that. But overall, a really nice figure in terms of the Iron Fist. It's essentially what fans have been asking for years, and they've given it to us on the new Spider-Man body as well. So super articulated. The details that they gave it were perfect, you know, in terms of they molded the collar, they gave him the belt, he had articulated toes, the paint was really good. So yeah, everything was perfect. We have the accessories in terms of the fire effects that you could put on his hands and his feet, and then you've got the alternate head as well. So overall, a really nice figure. Unfortunately, you did have to pay £50 if you wanted the figure, because you have to buy it in a 2-pack, and that's probably why it's a bit lower on the list, because a figure like this is basically behind a £50 price tag or $50 price tag, and it's a figure that fans have been asking for so long, and you've done so well with it, but you're making someone buy the extra figure with it. And Luke Cage was another character that I think they released at the start of the year in his Power Man look, so it might be one that people already have and didn't want to buy. So it makes it tricky for me to put it high up on the list, considering it's not a single release. But overall, a fantastic figure, and if you do like both of these characters, I do recommend you pick up this 2-pack. So at the number 9 spot, we have the SH Figuarts Teen Gojo figure, which is another figure I did a full review for when it first came out. You can also go and check that out as well. And if you have watched that review, you'll remember me saying that it was essentially the best Gojo figure that they've released, and really highlighting the accessories and how it gave the figure a lot of character. You know, the phone, the glasses, the pockets, it allowed you to do a lot of poses and stuff. And yeah, I do really like this figure. It's one of my favourites from this year. I still believe it's the best Gojo figure that they've released so far. The one thing is that over time, the chest kind of gets scratched, and the lower part of his torso kind of gets scratched with the ab crunch, which is weird. I think mention it at the time on the review, but obviously when you mess around with it more, it tends to happen more. So it's probably why it's one of the lower SH Figuarts on the list, but it's still definitely one of my favourites for this year. And it was a bit pricey, but I do think that if you do want just one Gojo figure, I think this is the one that you should be picking up. And yeah, that's why it slotted at my number 9 spot. So at the number 8 spot, we've got the SH Figuarts GT Kid Goku, which came out in January of this year. I actually forgot that it came out this year, had to go double check. But an absolutely fantastic release again from SH Figuarts. And I didn't have many complaints when it first came out. I actually didn't do a review because I got it quite late. But overall, I was really happy with the articulation. The overall look of the figure is fantastic, especially the 3.0 head with the, spikier hair and the brand new faces. The colouring was great as well. My one complaint with it was the accessories. It does come with the Kamehameha and windy hair, but I do think that for a GT Kid Goku, you do need a Super Saiyan head, a Super Saiyan 3 head, a tail, and I do think that if you included all those, you would have had the perfect release. So that's probably why it sits at the number 8 spot and not higher. Overall, though, a really fantastic figure, and I do think that you should pick it up. The one thing that lets it down is that the extras are going to be behind future releases. For example, the tail with the GT trunk. So, yeah. But still definitely the best Kid Goku release we've had so far. That's including all the old releases, the Innocent Challenger and the Diamond. I would definitely take this one over all of those. Coming in at number 7, we've got the Mafex Nightfall Batman. Now, if anyone knows how to make a really good Batman figure, it's Mafex. And this was, I believe, one of 2 Mafex Batman releases for this year, I think. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments, but I think that it was this one, which I reviewed on my channel, by the way. You can go and watch that video as well. There's a lot of these figures that I have reviewed, so if I have reviewed them, you can go and check them out if you want to watch the longer videos and see, all the articulation and stuff like that. But there was this one, and there was the Zack Snyder's Justice League Batman, which I heard mixed things about. I actually had it on pre-order, but then I didn't really want it in the end, so I just cancelled it. But I did hear good things about it, and the Mafex Hush Batman is one of the best Batman figures of all time, like out of any company. So when they said that they were going to make the Nightfall look, I did really, really want it. Especially just having, in general, a blue Batman with a yellow logo is, for me, a must in the collection. And I didn't have one up until that point, so I had to pick it up. And yeah, it didn't disappoint. The accessories are fantastic. It looks really good. The articulation was really good. It's one that I haven't really posed a lot, and you'll see a few more poses in this video for it anyway. But yeah, overall, a really, really good figure and solidified itself at the number 7 spot. So at number 6, we've got the shfiguarts Itachi Uchiha Naruto Top 99 edition. Now, this figure, when it first got revealed, I did think would be my number 1 figure for this year. But when it actually released, I had very different feelings about it. Again, I got it late, so I didn't get to do a review of it. And I actually just recently made a post with it on my Instagram. But overall, I do really like the figure. Look, the Naruto 3.0 bodies they've been making for these figures are perfect. There's legit nothing to complain about, from the articulation, the looks, the joint quality, and the engineering all being spot on. The accessories for it are pretty good as well. Probably would have liked 1 or 2 more faceplates, but the sword is also really nice, and I didn't actually think they would include that. But the main thing with Itachi and anyone who's in the Akatsuki is you need to get the robe spot on, and that's what they messed up for me. The robe is okay, but there's areas of it which really disappointed me, from the wiring to, how bulky and heavy it is. It also seems a bit too big as well. I guess that's to allow for movement, but I don't think it needed to be as big as it is. It also seems like there's some paint rub from the red on the inside. So yeah, there's a lot of different problems with that cloak. So for me, that really knocks it down to the number 5 position. I do still really like the figure. That's why it is so high on the list. But it does have that problem of the cloak for me. And overall, yeah, it is a really nice figure, and I do recommend picking it up, especially if you don't have an Itachi, which you probably wouldn't because there's not that many available. But yeah, that's the problem for me. And one thing I do really like about the figure, which I really want to mention, is that the ponytail is removable like the 1.0, but it's a ball joint instead. So yeah, that's really helpful as well. So we are halfway through the list now, and at number 5, we have got the amazing Yamaguchi Agent Venom. Now, this is a figure that has been really popular with the community this year. I've seen it in a lot of people's top 10 lists, and there's no surprise to that, really, because it's an absolutely fantastic figure, and it's a really unique release, because Agent Venom is one of those characters that doesn't really get a lot of attention, especially from, the companies that should be making one, like Marvel Legends, who actually have made one now, probably because of the success of the amazing Yamaguchi one. But the way that this figure is engineered is amazing. You've got accessories like the tentacles and spikes and guns and hands to hold guns with attached to spikes. There's just so many different options to pose this figure, and it's absolutely fantastic. And the way that they've sort of engineered his armor and the way they've articulated it, considering how bulky the figure is really, really impressive. Now, this did get a replica made by CT Toys, which they did the Spider-Man 2099 that I reviewed earlier on in the year. So apparently it's very close to the original. I do have the original, and they have released a anti-Venom version, which looks really, really good and I might pick up. So if you guys did want to get your hands on it for cheap, because I don't think that you'd be able to find the original release now for cheap, the CT Toys version apparently is pretty good. But yeah, this is an absolute top release, and I can't really fault it. I didn't actually get a chance to review it, which is a shame, but you can see all the poses here. And I think this figure proves that action figure companies should be more experimental with the type of characters that they're making and like the type of engineering that they're doing, because it can really pay off. And yeah, I just think that this figure is a prime example of that. So moving up into the top 4, and at the number 4 spot is the shfiguarts Romance Dawn Luffy. Now, I have done a full review for this figure on my channel, and I basically think that it is perfect in most ways, to be honest with you. From the look to the articulation to the price, a price especially being like a budget figure, I think they did really well. And I think that this was a really important release because the shfiguarts line didn't get off to a good start in terms of the One Piece line. It was very flawed in terms of its quality issues and stuff like that. So they very much corrected that with the release of these Romance Dawn figures, and there's way more to come in 2025, so really, really excited about that. But yeah, this figure to me is perfect in almost every way. And you know, if you're looking for a Luffy to just have on your shelf, I recommend picking up this one. So finally, we are our top 3, and at number 3 we've got the Jakks Pacific Sonic Movie 3 Shadow action figure. Now, this whole Sonic Movie 3 line has really, really been a hit with the action figure community, and I think that's because of 2 things. The improvements they've made in terms of upscaling the figures and adding the articulation. The overall quality is a lot better as well, and the price of these figures as well. So around about $15 to £15, and a lot of people can find them sitting in their local Targets or Walmarts, so you'll be able to pick them up from there. And they are very, very easy to pick up, and they're really, really good action figures for the price. So that enticed a lot of people into buying it, and the whole line is great, from every single figure to Shadow, Sonic, Supersonic. So I could have put any one of those in this spot, but obviously Shadow being sort of the main character of Sonic Movie 3, I had to have him there because it was the figure that I was most hyped to pick up. It was probably one of my most anticipated figures of the year once I knew that these were coming out. Unfortunately, they did take a bit of time to hit the UK, but now that we have them, they are amazing. From the articulation to the overall quality of the figures being a lot better than what Jakks Pacific has previously put out with Sonic, and you can tell they put a lot of effort into this line. So yeah, a really, really amazing figure, and for the price I recommend picking it up. So at the number 2 spot we have the shfiguarts Vegeta 24,000 power level. Now this is the Vegeta that we see on Namek, and I have done a review for this figure if you do want to go and check it out. And this is at the number 2 spot because it's genuinely one of the most perfect Vegeta action figures that we've got so far. In terms of the overall look is absolutely amazing. The modifications they've made to, you know, the torso and the brand new head that they've given him, and it's really the most accurate Vegeta that we've gotten yet, and for me it can't get any more perfect even if they tried. I think the whole body mold of the modifications that they've made, from using the 2.0 legs with a new torso and, you know, same arms but a different head, is, I think it all really works well with each other, instead of trying to do, you know, a complete new body mold and sculpt only for it to look weird. I think they got the proportions bang on, even though they had to make sacrifices in some areas, and I do really like that about that figure as well. I've had a lot of fun with it over this year since it came out, so it has to be at the number 2 spot for me. So at the number 1 spot, and my figure of the year for 2024, is the Full Power Frieza from shfiguarts. Now this is awfully predictable because the figure of the year for 2023 for me was the Full Power Goku, which is the Namek Goku, which goes hand in hand with this Frieza. So it is a very predictable number 1 spot, but to be honest with you, this figure for me is the most perfect figure that has released this year. It's one that I have no complaints with whatsoever. Everything, like every aspect of it is perfect, and even the one aspect that I was worried about with this figure, which is the feet, because when they do the feet on Frieza figures, they're terrible and he's not able to stand properly, they have completely fixed. So for me, it is my number one figure of the year. It looks fantastic. It just feels great to pose as well, and it's one of those figures that you can mess about with for hours and you won't get bored. So that for me makes it the figure of the year. And unfortunately I did get this figure late as well, so a review wasn't available on time. I am actually making a review for this figure because it is my figure of the year, so make sure you are on the lookout for that. It should be coming out within the next couple of weeks. But yeah, overall an absolutely fantastic release. Again, SH Figuarts, they take the crown again. They have had some misses this year, one of them being the Super Saiyan Teen Gohan. But this figure for me was one that, you know what, I wasn't even looking forward to. I didn't even pre-order it. But when it came out, I thought this looks fantastic and I have to pick it up. So I went out of my way to find it. Did end up getting it late, but still got it, and still got it in on the list at the number 1 position. So yeah, my figure of the year for 2024 is the SH Figuarts Full Power Frieza. So we've come to the end of the video, and thank you so much for watching if you did make it to the end of the list. And I've had a really great year with action figures and content creating, and I've had so much fun over all the platforms that I've been uploading on. So thank you so much for all the support, and I hope to see you in 2025. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe and share with all your family and friends. You can check out my links in the description below to find my other social medias, and I'll see you next year.